Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're taking a handful of regular textbook pages and transforming them into a full-blown globe-trotting expedition of missing treasures. If you've ever thought that learning history or new vocabulary is a little dry, well, prepare to have your mind changed. We're going to unearth stories of kidnapped emperors, hidden tombs, and stolen palaces, all while unlocking the exact language used to describe these incredible events.
Here's our treasure map for today. We'll start with the value of lost things, then hunt for Moctezuma's missing Aztec gold, explore Tutankhamun's perfectly intact royal tomb, investigate the vanished amber room, and finally, master the vocabulary behind all these mysteries. Let's dive in.
Section 1. The value of lost things. So I want you to think for a second. What is the absolute most valuable thing you've ever lost? Maybe it was a family heirloom, a piece of jewelry, or even just a really cherished childhood memento. Seriously, think about that sinking, horrible feeling in your stomach when you realize you misplaced something truly precious. Hold on to that feeling, because that exact sense of loss, mixed with the tantalizing hope of discovery, is what connects us directly to the epic historical events we're about to explore today. It's a universal human experience, right? This cycle of lost and found. And it's actually driven human exploration for literally centuries. People dedicate their whole lives, their entire fortunes, and sometimes even their sanity simply to move an object from the lost category back into the found category. And what's really wild is that all the thrilling heists, ancient pharaohs, and missing gold we're about to dive into, they're pulled directly from the pages of your English textbook. We're taking the text right off the page to show you just how dramatic human history actually is. Moving on to Section 2, Moctezuma's missing Aztec gold. Okay, let's set the scene. The year is 1520, and Moctezuma II is the Aztec emperor. Suddenly, this notorious Spanish invader, Hernán Cortés, arrives, kidnaps the emperor, and demands his dazzling treasures. But the Aztecs, they absolutely refuse to surrender. Cortés actually had to flee empty-handed, but he returned for revenge. Before he could take the capital, though, the Aztecs completely hid their massive, sprawling treasure around Lake Texcoco. And the craziest part? Cortés never found a single trace of it. Now, what's really mind-blowing about this mystery is the sheer scale of the modern attempts to recover this gold. I mean, one of Mexico's former presidents literally authorized draining an entire lake just to try and find it. And guess what? He found absolutely nothing. Not a single coin. To this very day, that treasure is still sitting out there, hidden somewhere, near Mexico City.
All right, Section 3, Tutankhamun's intact royal tomb.
Now, uncovering this royal necropolis, it wasn't just some lucky accident. It was a grueling, step-by-step process of deduction and sheer funded perseverance. First, an American businessman named Theodore M. Davis found some initial clues. Then, the famous Egyptologist Howard Carter examined those clues and somehow convinced his friend, Lord Carnarvon, to foot the bill for a massive dig. They searched for years. They were literally on the verge of giving up hope entirely when, out of nowhere, they noticed some stone steps buried underneath an ancient hut in the Valley of the Kings. They dug an opening, and staring right back at them was the sealed door of King Tutankhamun's tomb. Unlike Moctezuma's lost gold, King Tut's artifacts were found perfectly intact. In fact, it is the best preserved royal tomb we have ever discovered. Inside, breathtaking gold masks, stunning jewelry, just exquisite paintings. But the real triumph here is what Carter did next. He didn't just smash and grab. It took him years to meticulously study, photograph, and itemize every single artifact. And thanks to that amazing preservation, this staggeringly beautiful treasure actually toured the world for the first time in the 1970s and again in 2004, letting millions of people share in the magic of that discovery. Which brings us to Section 4, the vanished amber room. Just picture the sheer opulence of this for a second. The amber room was a 180-square-foot space where all four walls were constructed entirely out of 6 tons of pure amber, all beautifully decorated with jewels. It was so completely breathtaking that people routinely called it the 8th wonder of the world. To put that kind of beauty into modern perspective, historians estimate its value today would be an astonishing $142 million. That staggering number makes this lost masterpiece truly invaluable. You literally can't put a price on the craftsmanship and the materials involved here.
Let's track how this went down chronologically, because the timeline is super fascinating. It was completed in 1716 by Prussian King Friedrich Wilhelm I. He later gave it as this ultra-lavish royal gift to Tsar Peter the Great of the Russian Empire, and it survived as a spectacular royal showpiece for over 2 centuries. But then World War II hits. The Nazis find this invaluable room, tear the whole thing down, pack it into hundreds of wooden crates, and haul it away. And then it just vanishes. The whole shebang. Its final destination is completely unknown today. Since it's never been found, all these competing theories have popped up about its final resting place. Was it loaded onto a passenger ship that tragically got sunk by a Soviet submarine? Or maybe it's buried deep inside the damp salt mines in Germany's Ore Mountains. The most popular theory right now, though, is that the Amber Room was hidden in a lost, underground shelter somewhere in the city of Königsberg. But despite massive, sprawling searches, the hunt for the Amber Room is still going strong to this very day. So, looking at these 3 incredible historical treasures side by side, the contrast is super stark. We've got the Aztec gold completely hidden, we've got Tutankhamun's tomb beautifully found and preserved, and we have the tragic mystery of the Amber Room, stolen and completely lost to the chaos of war.
Now for Section 5, Master the Vocabulary.
Remember how we described the invader who kidnapped Moctezuma? He wasn't just famous, he was notorious. When someone is notorious, they're well known, sure, but specifically for a bad quality or a really dark deed. Cortez's actions definitely left a notoriously dark mark on history. And think back to that staggering estimated cost of the missing Amber Room. It is invaluable. Now, I know invaluable sounds like it means without value, but it actually means the exact opposite. It means something has a value that is simply too massive to even calculate. Finally, recall why Howard Carter's discovery in the Valley of the Kings was such a big deal. Because the tomb had been preserved. To preserve is to maintain something safely in its original or existing state, keeping it totally protected from destruction or decay over thousands of years. By looking closely at the historical context of all these words, this vocabulary puzzle from your textbook becomes an absolute breeze to decode. We're going to take words like preserve, notorious, surrender, theory, treasure, revenge, and invaluable, and plug them right in.
Here's the vocabulary in action, seamlessly applying the very words we just watched play out across history. Suddenly, it's incredibly clear how to preserve historic monuments, why the Aztecs wouldn't surrender, and how notorious bank robbers compared to historical invaders. By connecting these words like treasure, revenge, theory, and invaluable to real dramatic stories, the sentences essentially solve themselves. See how much easier that is when you actually know the stories behind the words? So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you with one final question. If you were given unlimited funds tomorrow, which of these invaluable, notoriously hidden treasures captures your imagination the most? Would you head to the drained leak beds of Mexico or the underground bunkers of Germany? Something to think about. Thanks for learning with us today, and stay curious.